the position vectors R and velocity vectors V of two ships A and B at certain times on a particular day were as follows. So we can see the first one is at 8 a.m. The position is 5i plus 7j kilometers, and the velocity is 2i plus 3j kilometers per hour. For the other one, we have it at 8:30, that it is at -1 plus 10j, and the velocity is 3i minus 2j kilometers per hour. Show that if the two ships continue with these velocities, or with these velocity vectors, they will not collide. Now, there's a couple of possibilities here, because of course, as long as these are not parallel, we're only in 2D, their paths must intersect. But if they're there at different times, so that when this ship is there, the other one is actually up here, then they're not going to collide. Another possibility is that the paths are actually diverging, and that means, and we first observed them here and here, say, and that means that they would have been at the same position in the past, but of course they weren't, because we're observing them now. They haven't sunk over here. So let's see what the situation is for this one, and we can approach it in the same way, whichever one of these situations we have. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to advance this one so that I get the time at 8:30. And that means that I'll have done half of one of those. So in other words, I plus 1.5j. So for A, RA of t, that is actually going to have a fixed point, which is 5 plus 1, 6, and 7 plus 1.5, which is 8.5, and then plus t, 2, 3. So all I've done is move that forward half an hour. And then RB of t is going to be -1, 10, plus t, 3, -2. Now, if they were going to collide, what we would have to have is 6 plus 2t equal to -1 plus 3t. And if we solve that, we get t equals 7. Now consider the i's. 8.5 plus 3t is equal to 10 take away 2t. That gives me 5t is 1.5, and therefore t would be 0.3. Remember, these are in hours, but we can see that that's not the same time. So what we're saying is, when t is 0.3, the j components are the same. So the ships would be like this, but the x's are not the same at that point, and that's why they're separated. At a later time, their x direction, or I component, is different, so they're separated horizontally. So they don't collide.